Hey everybody, the Nitty Professor here with a topic that I think might be interesting to discuss at a kind of collective level, which is the allure of exotic leathers when we're buying heritage boots. So the grand majority of my boots are made of good old-fashioned cowhide, and that's pretty much it. But I do have 3 pairs that are not cowhide. I'm going to bill them as exotic, even though that might be a bit of a an exaggeration. But let's look at the first pair we'll look at are the Kudo. Before I heard about the spruce Kudo from Grant Stone that Nick English was raving about on Stridewise a few years back, I never heard of Kudo. And I was very intrigued with the idea of getting those spruce Kudo boots, and I never was able to. Boots are expensive, and you know, let's face it, we're using money in a lot of cases that could be used for gas, food, rent, you know, so gotta kind of watch the budget. So I did manage to snag then these, I think it's called Storm Kudo maybe. So this is a gray Kudo from Parkhurst, and I've been doing a little research on these leathers because, you know, I would like to know if it's sustainable, if it's ethical, if it's advisable. You know, I think a lot of us are in this game, shall I say, the habit of purchasing all of these cool boots because we love the leather. Ever since I had baseball gloves and leather shoes when I was a kid, I always thought leather was just the coolest thing. So, almost as cool as yarn, and that's saying a lot. So anyhow, I do like this leather a lot. Kudo is cool because you can tell where the animal rubbed up against some thorn bushes. Now, this isn't perhaps the most striking Kudo. I think I put that scratch there, so I'm going to take full credit for that one. But here's a nice close-up there. So you can see some natural character to the leather that I really appreciate. I love thinking about, you know, how the animal lived and the environment where it was. It's like scars. I remember when I lived in Paris, my hostess told me scars give character, and I was like, what the heck? And it's true, you know, so the scars give this leather its character, and it's pretty cool. And I read up on Kudo. I found some information from the well, it's called Mill Handmade. So I think it is related to C.F. Stead. And I'll just give you some quotes here. Kudo is traditionally used for footwear and garments. It's hard wearing, has a durable surface. Unlike similar leathers, it's not firm and dense. It's more soft, so it's kind of suede-like. So it's both tough and soft. That, you know, that's really inviting. So here's information on where it comes from. Kudo skins are sourced from a seasoned cull mandated by the South African government. Controlled culling aims to manage overpopulation while also providing income to local communities. That's kind of cool. The meats and horns are sold in local markets while skins are sourced as a byproduct of the hunt. A controlled practice allows for sustainable sourcing with minimal waste. So it strikes me that Kudo is ethical, sustainable. I'd be curious if any of you all disagree with that. I don't know how many Kudo are in the South African land, but it reminds me of how, you know, deer are, quote, managed in the United States. Certainly in my state, South Dakota, it's a big deal to manage the deer population. Hunting is extremely popular sport. And I think there are probably parallels between deer here and Kudo in South Africa. So I kind of appreciated reading that, and then I can get leather, you know, that has cool marks like that, baby. I think that's originally from the animal. I couldn't put that on there, right, based on where it's at, right, with the eyelet going right through there. So I would probably buy Kudo again. It really is comfortable leather. What with my old feet and their propensity for sometimes hurting when I would rather they not, I do appreciate a leather that coddles them while also protecting them. So now let's go on to a leather that I'm going to suggest that it might be a little more controversial. I have a pair of kangaroo boots from Grant Stone, and I was wearing them today and feeling like, man, these are finally really broken in. The last is a bit narrow for me, so I would consider this sort of a, a professional look. I mean, I could even go so far as to say that it's almost a little bit feminine and feel like, well, I can at least pass myself off as just as female as anyone else. So that's kind of cool. These are olive. Beautiful shade of olive, really dark, really rich. The grain of kangaroo is much tighter and closer than cowhide. These are beautifully stitched. Grant Stone, they really do a fine job. The workmanship, you can see why I am claiming how broken in these are. The, wrinkles that we have here on the vamp are testimony to the fact that I've given them enough of a workout to where now they're molding to my foot. And even so, I think the leather maintains a lot of distinction. It's kind of a distinguished looking, especially with this, I think it's tanned in Italy is what I remember reading from Grant Stone. Got these nice, wrinkles built in. They show that it's sort of form-fitting to my foot, to the way that I walk, and the soles are also really durable. It's their specific Grant Stone sole. So I'm extremely happy with these. I really enjoy wearing them, and I think they look awesome. And it's a color that's as distinctive as it is versatile. So when I was reading about kangaroo leather, it does seem like there's some controversy out there. And I would be really curious specifically what people from Australia would argue, because one of the first things I read, and of course Gemini AI, coughs up all these results and stuff, so you have to make sure it's not hallucinating. And it reminds you, I'm experimental. It's like, yeah, okay. The Australian government has set some kind of quotas. Apparently kangaroos are eaten, so there is a meat industry. I'm sure it's based on hunting, kind of like deer meat in the United States. I don't know that for sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. But then there are people who claim that, it's species destruction and they're important for the environment, this and that. So, and for all I know, there are people who believe that about kudus. I don't know. I like hearing that it supports local and arguably maybe even indigenous populations to get the benefit of hunting these animals, because in, some parts of the world, people have to do all kinds of crazy things just to survive. So I get to just teach German all the time. So that's, I've got it easy. But in any case, I'd be curious to hear you all weigh in about, kangaroo and what your thoughts are. I'd love to think that Grant Stone really knows what they're doing. They seem to have a high degree of concern for doing business the right way and combating the image that could come up based on their production being in China and all this stuff. So, there's always going to be controversy. I mean, some people say you shouldn't use leather at all. I was just talking to my daughter earlier. She has a pair of vegan Doc Martens, and I said, are you going to bring those home for Christmas? We could do a video about them. And she said, yes. So that'll be interesting to explore that topic. But in any case, kangaroo, that's probably the most exotic pair that I have. And I'll just be honest, I love them. I'm really glad that I have them. I love wearing them. I think they look great, and I'm not going to send them back. So did I make a good decision? I don't know. Am I a good person? We don't know, right? We just, we have to try from day to day just to do the best that we can. So I'm going to close with the boots that y'all just saw that I just bought, which are these Exquisite Bison boots, and I have had an opportunity. I'm trying to break them in, so the tongue is going to show a little bit of, the wear. Am I going to wear kilties? No, I'm not. I like to see the impact of my use on my boots. That's part of making them mine. But if you all use kilties with your bison, then I think you should tell us about that and argue your case as well. So yeah, I even have a little indentation here that shows I wore these for a good 3 or 4 hours the other day, and yes, my feet were kind of sore afterwards. This leather is shrunk, and that impacts, of course, its toughness. But my oh my, I have to say that's the most beautiful pair of boots I have. I can't get over this grain, this character, the coloration. I mean, it's incredible. So is bison sustainable? I mean, well, you know, we Americans did a pretty good job of ensuring that wouldn't be the case about 150 years ago. And it's a shameful history. It's a tragic history, what was done to the bisons in America. But farming has been at least a way of bringing some of them back. Yellowstone has a bison population. You could argue whether it's big or small. At least they're there. And I love bison. When I was a mother of a small singleton before my twins came, so I took my 3-year-old son to a bison farm in Iowa. And you get to touch the bison, you know, and they had bison jerky, and it was really cool. It was, you know, they just take you out on this wagon with a pickup truck driving you out there, tractor or something. It was a long time ago. He's in his 20s now, but it was really cool to see the bison up close. And of course, South Dakota bison are a big thing. Custer State Park out west has a number of them, and we have bison farms. So bison farms in this part of the country are kind of normal, and obviously this kind of leather is a byproduct of the meat industry. I do eat bison. It's extremely healthy as meat goes, as red meat. So I have no qualms about buying bison boots, bison leather. I think kangaroo, I might feel a little bit different. You know, I'm not like sure. But with bison, I'm not worried at all at this point. You know, it'd be good if we could bring more of them back. So, you know, we'll see. Humans have a way of just taking things over. But now I'm thinking to myself, there are other cool leathers out there. Maybe you've got some. I'd love to have you all weigh in. I've seen ostrich, for example, in Grant Stone. Man, those ostrich boots, they look so cool. And once or twice a year, I'm like, should I get those? Should I get those? And then they have like double E, and I'm like, my bunions aren't quite there yet, so I don't need the double E, but could, you know, maybe 5 years, who knows, I might need that. But then you think about cowboy boots, and you see boots that are made of python and rattlesnake and alligator and this kind of stuff. I haven't been there. I haven't tried that yet. I haven't seen too many heritage boots that are made with leathers like that. So if you have, tell us about that. I would be really interested. To my knowledge, Grant Stone has one of the greatest varieties of exotic leathers on their website. I can't think of any bootmaker that I'm aware of that has as many different interesting leathers as Grant Stone. So again, if I'm wrong, correct me. Feel free to weigh in. I hope you've enjoyed this topic, and I really look forward to the comments, and I hope that we can have interesting discussion about exotic leathers and boots. So y'all have a great day, and we'll see you soon. Bye.